Hello, everyone, and welcome to our next hit of Rugby Nation. I'm Sean Maloney. You can see Beth Newman on screen, as well as one of our real favourites from the world of rugby, back from Japan, joining us on Rugby Nation episode. I don't know how many left or how many we've done through lockdown. Samu Kerevi, great to have you with us.
Thanks, guys, for having me. Really appreciate it.
You've just got out of quarantine, is that right, Samu? What's the last couple of weeks been like for you?
Yeah, got out last Wednesday, about a week ago now, and it was really interesting in there. Pretty tough in terms of not being able to get out the room at all, get any fresh air. So it was really tough in that sense, but I enjoyed it because I was with a mate of mine in there, Jaden and Amu. So yeah, it was good fun.
Whereabouts were you in Sydney, in a hotel room?
Yeah, Darling Harbour at Novotel.
Yep.
So they got us a beautiful view. So it was good in that sense. But it's just like being confined into one little room was tough, man.
What was the room service bill you were allowed each day?
We got 3 meals, so 3 meals each day, and credit to them. They're really good. All the meals are really delicious, and we had options for each meal. So if that didn't cut it, then we'll just be ordering Uber Eats from Darling Harbour there. So it was good.
I mean, you've obviously been in Japan for a little while, but what made you finally decide to make the call to come back home?
Oh, just to come see the family, really. It was I guess they were going through a tough time, especially with the quarantine and that, and I was pretty worried about my grandfather, but he was pretty good. I know at one period he was getting tested for coronavirus, and thank God that it was all good. But yeah, it was just more time to come back and spend time with the family, because in Japan I had my 2 brothers there, so they were keeping me occupied while I was in Japan, and it was just, and it was getting tough too to find flights to come back at that time. Obviously with all the restrictions going on and border closures.
I've seen a lot of your hairstyle get rolled out over the last couple of weeks. We had Noah Lolosio, Darcy Swain. I saw John O'Lance just the other day, who has gone the same way. Why is everyone going with that colour up top?
I don't know. I guess everyone was just a bit bored during quarantine. So I just thought we'll rock it for a bit, but I kind of kept it going. I know a lot of boys have kept it going during this time, so I don't know.
Beth, what do you reckon? Do you reckon Samu should do his beard as well?
Yeah, you've got to go make it look natural, right? That's the way to go. I'm interested to know: is it a box dye job, or is it a proper barber job?
No, it's just a home job. That's probably why it doesn't look too good. But probably should get into a hairdresser. Help the business out and get in there and get someone to do it really properly. So
I don't think it'll make much of a difference. Just let it run its course. Hey, run me through it. So you've just come back from Japan. You've got the Suntory Sun Goliath Adidas trackie top on at the moment. Yeah. It's such a shame that your season got cut short. I mean, it's such a shame that everyone's seasons got knifed from Corona, but it looked as though from the highlights we saw coming back and following you on Instagram as well, that you were really enjoying yourself over there in Japan.
Oh man, it's enjoyable time. I guess the culture they have, as a footy culture, and just the culture of the country is just it was really refreshing for myself. So seeing how things they are, seeing how professional they are, especially with the rugby side of things, like the boys, the way they come and turn up the training with no complaints. Because you got to understand, a lot of them are still work for the business as well. So they work either early in the morning, then they come to training throughout the whole day, then either go back to work. Even after trial matches and games, they go back to work. And the professionalism they have for training and for each other, and how much effort and they put in each session, man, it's amazing. So it's just a real refreshing aspect of the game to be there and part of their culture. And then on top of that, the way they are, the way their culture is just, it's been pretty good. And just, I guess it's just for me, it was a big refreshing change of culture.
Was it a bit of an eye opener for you? Like, I guess a lot of people perceive going overseas, as a bit of a not a holiday, but maybe a little bit easier than, playing the Southern Hemisphere and that sort of thing. Was that a bit of an eye-opener, seeing how hard these guys do work and how professional they are?
Yeah, because obviously everyone has a perception of it overseas, and I guess the opening, like for me, is like opening to other cultures, and like if this is Japan, imagine what England's like, imagine what France is like. Everyone will have their own identity of their culture in the footy aspect of things. So to embrace Japan, I've really enjoyed it. I think it's a lot harder than people think in terms of physicality. It might not be like hard on the body compared to Super Rugby and Test footy, like week in, week out. But in terms of pace, in terms of skills, like these guys are pretty skillful. Like the Japanese players are pretty skillful, and then you got the foreigners who's there as well. So it becomes pretty important to have really good Japanese boys, and like the way they are, especially a team like Suntory or Kobe or Panasonic, top teams are up there, and there's a lot of them. They get the best players from university and breed them through the system, and their system's unreal. So you end up getting like some of the best Japanese players, and for us foreigners, like we end up canceling each other out on the field. So your Japanese players have to be like, even some of them are even like better skills than I am in that. So it's just awesome to be around that, and you push each other in terms of skill in that. I guess the last aspect for them is just understanding the game and really like the way Southern Hemisphere plays, like the way Northern Hemisphere plays. And once they get that, like they've got everything else. Like I was telling the boys, their props in that are doing like 5 minutes in a Bronco. So you saw Bernie Barrett get like 14-12, 4-12. The props are getting 5 minutes. That's tough for me. Like, I'm just scraping around 5. So they work hard. They work extremely hard to get better, and they're so dedicated to the craft. So that's why I've loved just being around them.
I reckon you're really well placed to answer this question because you've done both. Super Rugby, there's been some chat around if we rejig Super Rugby the way it looks going forward, and the potential to maybe bring in two of the top league teams. So let's say Suntory and Panasonic as an example. How would those two teams go in Super Rugby, do you think?
Yeah, we've had this conversation with the boys. I think they'll go really well. Oh man, I think people will be surprised with how good the teams are. And like, even right now, I think we were placed second or third. But like you got Kobe and Panasonic, and you got so many other teams though. Like that's the thing. Like it's unpredictable with how teams can perform. Yamaha is up there. They've got a lot of recruits that they had are now that like hold passports in Japan. So. You got Sam Green playing there, and he's been playing unreal for Yamaha. And they got so many players across the board, and so many players that played Super Rugby are there now. And I'm sure that they'll tell you that their team will give a hard crack. And I think people shouldn't really underestimate the growth of what Japanese rugby can be. And it's like they've got so much more to go and so much to give, and it's just a scary thing, like where they're at now. And you saw what they did with the World Cup. How much pride they have for their country, and they've got a lot of players across the board that they can pick from. So it's a scary thing for rugby because they're just getting better.
Do you think that Japanese rugby can be sometimes underestimated? And I guess having gone straight from the World Cup into that top league environment, what kind of impact do you think that tournament did have on Japanese rugby and the kind of atmosphere around it and the support for it?
Yeah, the gathering thing is that the season got cut short because the whole country was buying into rugby, especially with the way they performed at World Cup. But even before World Cup, I know every time we, like if the Wallabies playing Japan, people may see like a blowout score, but we would never underestimate them because, I don't know, it's that belief thing that they have, is it can take them to another level. So, and like I said, like being there now and seeing how hard they work, it really opens my eyes to how dedicated they are. How dedicated, because of the culture of Japan, the way they're dedicated to the company or to their country. It's really it's another level.
One of the things that really surprised me was was how, and don't take this the wrong way, how fit you looked through those early parts of the top league season, just because you'd spent that long run up in Japan. How are you not eating everything in sight? How good is the food in Japan, Samu Kerevi?
No, oh man, the food is another part of the culture that I've loved. And where I live too, like I have so much options, and like I don't know if all the boys will agree with you, but like because I like to I try to cook heaps because I was living on my own, but it's so much cheaper to eat out, and like it's so cheap compared to actually buying groceries, and the food's unreal. Like you can get food across the board from anywhere in the world, I swear. They have some of the best, like beef, like Kobe beef is some of the best beef in the world. Just their sushi and all that. It's all like the fish and stuff. Always feels fresh every time you eat it. But I think the how we eat well is definitely at the clubhouse. We get 3 meals a day basically. Each time we train, and it's like a buffet kind of feed, and you got your rice. Like the rice is unreal. I swear the rice is different. It's different. I don't know. It's the way the grain is. I don't know how you do rice, but it just tastes different. Like it tastes different when you have it anywhere else in the world. But their rice, and then just the I don't know, because I guess we train pretty hard at Suntory, and then you don't want to like blow out or anything unless you're eating ramen every day, like ramen noodles and that. Then you can probably play out, but yeah, because everyone's so fit, you want to be as fit as them. So
they're crazy. They are crazy fit. Well, as
yeah.
I said, you looked, mate. You looked terrific. Unfortunately, it was cut short on that side of things. So everyone from Suntory's basically bounced back to other parts of the world. A lot of the Kiwi guys who are up there playing, Kieran Reid and the rest, Whitelock too, have said that they might even head back to playing Super Rugby in NZ, which kicks off in June with some luck. Is there any scope for you to have a run around in Australia while Corona sort of goes out the other side over in Japan?
Yeah, so it's on obviously having to think about it. Don't want to play my cards too early, but like for me, is you do want to play some footy because the season's been kind of short. But I've said it before, like Suntory is the boss, so they'd have to give the green light to that. But I don't know. I don't even think I would make the Super Rugby team at the Reds. I'll probably just try to play some club footy. Hopefully get selected there. But yeah, I guess the Reds have a strong team already, or all the squads are pretty set. So I don't think they need a centre or anything like that across Australia to get into that Super Rugby games. But I'll definitely put my hand up for club footy.
I think you might be selling yourself a bit short there, Samu.
I was going to say, I'll find somewhere for you to play. Don't worry.
What do you know about when you have to be back in Japan as well? Like, what's the time frame on that?
September, I think. September sometime, yeah. Early September, I'll probably be heading back. They'll give us a date and that, but I guess it depends on the progression of COVID-19. Like if that passes through and they open up travel and all that. Because I know like Japan will have some strict rules around people returning into their country. So, which I'm all for. Like they want to protect their citizens and that. So the same as Australia. So we'll just see. It depends on the way COVID's gone.
How was it for you watching on some of the Super Rugby through the early part of the year? What was your take on the way that the Queensland Reds were tracking before it all got cut short?
Yeah, I think was their first game against Brumbies. I think it was. Brumbies, yeah, because we were watching the trial matches, and the game was up on our team hotel before we played. They played the Brumbies, so yeah, Gis is always giving me shit while we were watching that. Because I was cheering them on, but he's like, don't lie, you don't want him to get well since you left. I was like, wait, Gis is, he's lying up. But yeah, I was gutted they lost that game. I thought they were playing some unreal footy. But credit to the Brums, like they came back really well, especially with their young fly off. He's been playing unreal for them, and their squad's been playing really well. But yeah, I thought they had a lot of glimpses of some amazing footy, and just the way they are. I think they were building to like being a real strong team, and they still got plenty of years under them. where they can just keep building that squad if they hold on to that whole pack and the whole squad that they got there, and just add to it along the years. I think they can be a championship team. I think they will be a championship team. So it just depends on how they go with holding all those boys together.
It's interesting you say that, because I'm not sure if you followed the news the last week or so, but obviously Isaac Rodder, Harry Hockings, and Isaac Lips obviously leaving the club. What do you think you see in the Red squad that, do you think they can cover those losses, and how do you think that the squad and how them will kind of cope with that or handle that kind of going forward?
Yeah, it would be tough. Obviously, it'd be tough because that's two big guys up front, and Zachy Lucas, who's been playing some unreal footy as well. I've always said to his brothers that he'll be the best out of all of them. Just watching him play as a young fella, and because I grew up with Tommy, so he didn't like that.
He would have hated that. Matt would have hated it even more.
Yeah, especially Matt. Benny would have just been all good with it. Had his heyday. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough for the Reds, and I understand the disappointment with the club and with the fans. With those young guys leaving, but I can't say I don't fault their decision because for them they've got to make a decision that's best for them at the end of the day. I know everyone will talk about loyalty and all that, but it's a hard one. I don't blame them for looking for another opportunity where they can really succeed, and like them going to wherever they'll go, they won't get any worse or anything. They'll get better because the drive they have to get better as footy players, but there's not a set of things that when you're making a decision. I've said it before, like making a decision. Obviously, you look at certain A, B, and C, but everyone's A, B, and C will be different to themselves. I can't tell this guy, you got to make a decision on this. He's like, yeah, he can, but in his situation, like, what's it look like from his end? I don't walk in their shoes, so I'm not gonna get out here and either bag him or say good on him. It's a tough one for people from the outside to see that, but they're making the right decision for them, and that's all I can say about that. I'll back him. And I don't think Australian Rugby or the Reds should close the door on them either. They're amazing players, and wherever they go, it might not be a long time before it's back. But I think they're just looking after their security above all.
Yeah, I'm totally in agreement with that, mate. I was speaking to Drew and Halsey about it earlier in the week, and I don't think it'll be a long-term thing. I'm sure at some point everything will kind of be ironed out and they'll be welcomed back into Aussie rugby. At least I hope that's the case. We all get a chance to do what we think's best, and that's the way they've gone with it. Speaking of doing the best thing, would you just do the best thing for Aussie rugby fans to make yourself available for Wallabies selection? Should we get a rugby championship up later this year? Is that okay?
It's funny. Like, I spoke to a lot of people about it, and especially Santor and that, and then they're like, it's obvious a chat that we'll have to have, but I'm pretty sure they'll be happy with it. It's just like, I just can't because I'm not eligible. So that's the thing. So I'm never. I would always put my hand up to play Wallabies and that, and because like for me it's the pinnacle of the sport, playing for your country, and Australia is my country. Yes, I'm Fijian, but I'm Australian as well. So I don't identify with just being Fijian. I identify as being Australian because I am. I've grown up here basically all my life, but my culture is, I understand the Fijian aspect that I have in my heart and in my soul and in my family. So, but I've always loved to represent Australia. But again, like I just can't because of the eligibility rules. And to be honest, I'm all for the eligibility rules in terms of I see where they're coming from, that they want to keep players here and they want to develop their players and see the development and then obviously select them. And I'm all for it. Like and honestly, like, not joking around, like, it'd be hard for me to make the team now because of the way some of these young guys are playing. I think they deserve that 12 and 13 jersey as much as anyone. So if Aussie wants to keep, if Wallabies want to keep that rule in, that's all fine with me. Like I'm not going to have a cry about it because I want to play Wallabies. I'm just going to support from where I am, and that's the decision I made.
And I mean, I guess looking back at that World Cup last year, like, do you have a sense of a little bit of unfinished business given how everything kind of unfolded in 2019?
Yeah, 100%. Like, the biggest one would be the Bledisloe as much as the World Cup. You know, both of them in the same year had an opportunity to win them and not win it. Like, that was heartbreaking. Like, the Bledisloe was heartbreaking for me. I felt for us, like, a team was really finding our rhythm, and for us to lose like that in Eden Park, you know, it's like everyone, like, because everyone felt like, you know, you can never win there, and then like we just kind of said yes to it because the way we lost, it's like, yeah, it's true. Like, when it's like, it's hard because, and credit to the ABs, man, they're unreal. They're an unreal team. You know, it's obviously they didn't go where they wanted to go in the World Cup, but like, oh man, it was tough to lose like that in New Zealand, and then to lose like that at the World Cup was even more heartbreaking. Like, that really sucked. Like, as a footy player and as a teammate with those boys, and just knowing like how much the boys had put in, how much sacrifice they put in, like not just on the field but off the field, like how much sacrifice they had from their families, and not to be with not to be with their families and kids. You know, I'm like, I didn't have kids, but you know, my partner and my family not seeing me for months on end. I know it would have been so much harder for them and their kids, and yeah, to come up short like that, it's definitely unfinished business, and you want to have another crack. And like, the awesome thing about the Bledisloe is basically every year, so you want that cup, you want the championship, or yeah, not Tri Nations, but yeah, and yeah, it's always felt like it's unfinished business.
There's an easy way around this, Samu. Beth and I just have a long chat to Dave Rennie, Scotty Johnson, and the rest of the crew at Rugby Australia, and we just relax those laws straight off the bat, so you can come back this year and have a go. Yeah, we got the Samu cause, whatever you want, no dramas. Hey, just on that, let's look ahead quickly to Japan next year, where hopefully COVID's out the back door, and obviously Tokyo will host the Olympics. Sean McMahon came back with the Aussie Sevens team and had a crack just before Christmas. Macca went really well in Cape Town. I'm guessing that you go all right in Sevens as well. Has that popped up on your radar at any stage? And what likelihood, if Suntory say go for it, are we of seeing you in an Australian Sevens squad?
Oh, like, theoretically, if they said yes, I would have a crack. But again, like, I would never know if I'd make the team. Like, they're fit. It's funny, because Shawnee obviously was doing that, and I was keen to do it, but I was like, it's funny, before I think we had testing, and I was telling him, like, because he did really well in the Broncos, so he's been training like 4.7s, and he came back and done something ridiculous, like I think it's 4.30 something or 4.40 something, which is awesome, you know. And then that was like a couple of days before my Bronco, and then I was just telling him, if I don't even get under 5, I'm not giving it a thought. Like, if I don't get anywhere near 5, or but yeah, like, I ended up getting like 4.55, but I was still like, man, compared to those boys, they're super fit. But my excuse is like, oh, I just play the sevens differently to them. I'm not. I don't just run around. Yeah,
I'll be forward in sevens, no problem.
Exactly.
Put me up front. The remarkable thing about Macca as well is that he probably did that Bronco after a Sunday session somewhere too.
Exactly. Probably him and Gitson really probably walked up that morning, and he'll still put out that type of numbers. But
he's a
yeah,
machine.
it'll be interesting to see how that all goes next year. Like, I mean, I can be like 13th man and just be waiting in Japan if they need anyone. Because obviously it's just be my backyard. So it'll be awesome, man. Like, I think for me, any time to represent your country would be a blessing, and opportunities you get, you definitely take it with both hands.
We've had the social side of things obviously heating up through Corona. If one thing Corona's brought us, it's good content on the lines. You're very handy on Instagram with your stories. Quade Cooper, your good buddy Quade, well, he's been offering up some golden stuff. Now, Noah Lolosio, who we had on Rugby Nation the other week, has tried to match Quade Cooper's, this one.
Oh, the pass.
What can you offer up for us on that front?
Oh, man. I've got I was gonna just do what Quade done, but then I saw him kept like leveling it up, and I was like, because I got surgery on my wrist, so I probably can't do it. Like
Oh,
the
yeah,
wrist
that's the
isn't as
reason why.
Yeah.
yeah.
You got two
Because I
wrists,
would
you're fine.
yeah. I don't know what. I don't actually have any I don't have any skills like that. I'll probably start practicing something, and then I'll just surprise everyone. I'll tag Quade in it, and then see if he can top it. That'll be my surprise.
The
And
other way you might be able to go with it is to do the Taniela Tupou and just grab a 6-foot machete and just start lopping stuff like he normally does.
Right.
That looks pretty good.
I think the video that scared me the most was him cutting up like the coconuts, and he was just smacking them, and I was just like, "Bruss," because I guess obviously he grew up in that, so us boys would say he's cultured. But man, like, still scares me when he does it. I feel like he's gonna if the blade misses one time, his fingers he won't be crouch pausing anything. He won't be able to reach anything. So,
the world's first one-arm prop.
Exactly. He's good though. He's a cultured fellow out of all of us.
We'll keep an eye on you and the rest of the gang. And the other thing that we always close out these Rugby Nation chats with, Samu Kerevi, is a look at our classic matches. So this week we're going back to British and Irish Lions. Beth has done the numbers and says in 2013 you would have still been in high school. Is that right, when that last Lions tour came
My
through?
maths might be a little bit out. I was thinking about this.
No, I finished in 2011.
Okay, so you just out of. What are your memories of that 2013 British and Irish Lions series? Because you ended up playing with a bunch of guys who ran around in that three-test series.
I just remember Brumbies beating them. Didn't Brumbies beat them?
They did, mate. Yeah.
That was probably one thing that stood out for me was that they beat them. I remember obviously Izzy. I think that was his debut year.
Yes, it was.
The first
that would have been his debut. But I think the most memorable one, because I was obviously a massive Reds fan, was Moz's chip and chase.
Yes,
that's a phenomenal one. Yeah,
that one. That's probably what stood out. Like, obviously the Brumbies winning because Tevita was playing, so we were all going off here in Brisbane. Izzy's debut was massive, and I remember Rabs ended up playing 10.
Yeah, he was 10
at one of those games. Yeah. Obviously when he got lifted by North. Who's the winger he played wing?
George North,
and then he picked him up, and then he ended up dunking him on his head. But I think the most memorable one was the try from Moz when he chipped it and just took off and ended up scoring right under the post against them. So that was
that was an epic one in the wet. I think in Brisbane, and Moz doing what he does so well, knocking it head up the park and chasing, regathering and scoring. Mate, good recollection. I'm going to let the fan man, our producer, maybe tie a little something up with your recollection of Moz's try there. We hope we see you scoring some tries sooner rather than later. So September, you look likely to go back to Japan. Maybe, I mean, there's maybe an outside shot. We might see you playing some club rugby in Brisbane if Suntory give the nod so you can get some match fitness in. When do you think you might be playing back with Suntory? When would the season potentially start up again?
It's definitely starting in January.
Okay.
First game's in January, but we'll have trial matches like along that. So December, whole of December, we'll have trial matches, I guess. They do a lot of like camps where all teams are there and we just play round robin games. Just to get the feel of it again. So like it's a massive camp thing that they usually do. So it'll be interesting to be part of that for the first time because I missed out after the World Cup. But yeah, that'll be interesting.
Okay, mate.
It'll be a team gathering.
Yeah, it'll be terrific. You go enjoy the time now, though, with your family. Look after them. Make sure they stay safe and healthy back in Brisbane. We will see you again, hopefully sooner rather than later, as Beth and I trundle off to go and get these laws reviewed.
Yes,
Rugby Australia. Hopefully we might see you sooner rather than later. Thanks again, Samu Kerevi, for joining us on Rugby Nation.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.